Hi, I'm Regina Leung, Director of the VAV Industry Insight Panel Series. We began by acknowledging the land that we are broadcasting at is the unceded territory of Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh First Nations, as well as the Mississauga of the Credits, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. Welcome everyone to this panel, Dialogue with the cast of Kung Fu. We are very excited to have our special guests from the cast of Kung Fu to join this conversation. And our moderator of this panel is Lin Lee. Lin Lee is our director of the Mighty Asian Movie Making Marathon, MAM. She is a Chinese-Canadian Marcom film executive focusing on promoting underrepresented voices in the film industry in Vancouver, BC. Born in Hong Kong and educated in Vancouver, she spent over 15 years in Hong Kong and China creating award-winning marketing campaigns for brands such as P&G, Coca-Cola, and L'Oreal. She returned in 2015 to work in film production, specializing in Chinese co-productions and dialect coaching for films and TV, such as Meditation Park, Skyscraper, Wu Assassins, Kung Fu, and among others. This program is sponsored by the public funder, Canada Media Fund, and industry sponsors, Canadian Media Producer Association. It is also supported by community organizations, Exploration, Vancouver Asian Heritage Month Society, DOCSA, Story Money Impact, Vancouver Short Film Festival, Vancouver International Film Festival, and Quarantine Capsule QQ. The following conversation will be recorded in the earlier days. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Regina, for the introduction. I'm so honored and excited to be chatting with our guest today because Kung Fu is such a hit show right now, and because personally, I am so happy and privileged to have worked with all of our guests today on this very, very fun and exciting show that actually takes authentic representation seriously in front of and behind the camera. Very, very seriously. And I am very excited to tell you also that Kung Fu debuted to 1.4 million total viewers and makes it the CW's highest total viewership number for a Wednesday debut in 7 years since the 100. And we really need more shows like this. And the Kung Fu series is airing every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on CTV2 and CW channel. So I'm very excited to be introducing our guests today, and I will introduce them one by one. First up, let me welcome Kang Hua Tan. Hi, Kang.
Hi, Lynn. Yeah.
Yes, Kang has been a well-known and highly respected award-winning actress and producer in Southeast Asia for many years, but has recently become equally recognizable all over the world due to her scene-stealing performance as Constant Wu's stern mom in the smash hit Crazy Rich Asians. Her role as Empress Dowager on Netflix, Marco Polo, brought much acclaim, and since relocating to LA in 2019, she has guest starred in Grey's Anatomy, Magnum PI, and Medical Police. Welcome, Kang. Okay, up next, we have the star of Kung Fu, Olivia Liang.
Hey.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi, Lynn.
After receiving her Bachelor of Arts at the University of California, San Diego, Olivia was accepted into the acting program of UCLA. She has recurred on the CW's Legacies and can also be seen in Hulu's anthology series Into the Dark. All right, next we have Tai Ma. Hi, Tai.
Hey,
For more
Ellen.
than 4 decades, Tai has blazed new trails for the representation of Asian Americans in Hollywood. Celebrated for his uncanny versatility, his body of work encompasses virtually every genre across film, TV, and theater. From big budget studio pictures like the recent Disney's Mulan and Rush Hour series to acclaimed independent films like The Farewell and Meditation Park, Tai Ma's unforgettable performances have garnered unanimous critical acclaim and honors throughout his groundbreaking career. Tai is no stranger to VAF and works tirelessly to spread love and stop hate. And we love welcoming Tai back.
Hey, Lynn. Thanks. Wow, what an intro. And I love the opening pic, the graphics where everybody
Yeah.
has such a beautiful glamour shots, man.
Well, all of you
Wow.
look glamorous all the
I'm
time.
telling you.
And next up, please help me welcome Vanessa Kai. Hi, Vanessa. Vanessa is an actor, collaborator, and a native New Yorker. She was nominated for a Lucille Lortel Award for Outstanding Featured Actress in a musical for her performance as Ruby in the sold-out extended world premiere of K-pop, an off-Broadway immersive musical event produced by Ars Nova. Amongst many off-Broadway credits, she has also helped develop new works at many prominent institutions, such as New York Stage and Film, Roundabout Theater, many more. Kai has also appeared in the recurring role on the hit show New Amsterdam. Other television credits, such as Orange is the New Black, Gotham, and The Mysteries of Laura. And last but not least, welcome, Vanessa. Last but not least, our fellow Canadian actress, Yvonne Chapman.
Hello.
Yvonne is an Asian Canadian actor who recurs on Global's TV Family Law. Previously, audiences have seen her in CW's The 100, ABC's The Crossing, and most recently, her series regular role in CBC's Street Legal, a reboot of the hit television series from the 80s. She has also acted in, produced, and directed short films in support of young and emerging artists, many of which have been featured in prominent festivals such as Cannes, Los Angeles Independent Film Festival, National Film Festival for Talented Youth, and also a veteran and supporter of VAF's very own Mighty Asian Movie Making Marathon. Welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's so exciting to see all of you again. This is like a mini reunion. And we know, and we really welcome Kang being here all the way from Singapore and on her last day of quarantine.
I know, and that was a call from the hotel. I'm sorry about that. Cannot control that.
That's perfectly fine. We're all excited about Kung Fu. We need more shows like that where we have so much representation, authentic representation in front of the camera and also behind the camera. So let's start off by talking about yourselves, your characters on screen. So I'd love to have everybody answer it, but just to keep things in order, maybe I will sort of call out names and then we can talk one by one. So could you please introduce yourselves, your character, and tell me one thing you love about your character. So let's start with our star, Nikki. Olivia.
Hi, guys. I'm Olivia. I play Nikki Shen. I am the middle child of the Shen siblings. And, my story and my freak out kind of is the catalyst for this show. And what I love about Nikki is that she is so brave, and she inspires me to be the same in my own life.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you. All right. Why don't we go with Kang?
Hi, I'm Keng Hua Tan. I play Mei Li. I play Nikki's mom. What I love about Mei Li is her fierceness. She's very unabashedly fierce about things. And if you read between the lines, it just basically means that I think she goes for what she thinks is right. And yeah, I love that about her.
Fantastic. Thank you. Tai.
Let's see. I played Jin, the dad, to the lovely Nikki, the 老公 to my lovely 老婆,
That's
Mei
right.
Li. And what I love about my character is that I am the perfect complement to my 老婆.
Yin
So
and yang.
we present
the perfect
we
husband.
present the yin and the yang
Yin
of
and
the
yang.
family. That's
Absolutely.
right. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Shen family. And unfortunately, we couldn't have the whole family. Who else is in the family? Why don't we introduce them?
We've got Althea and Ryan. Althea
Mhm.
is gorgeous genius who is also a powerhouse, and then we've got Ryan, who's just this lovable guy who just wants to do the right thing, and he's so sweet, and we love them.
Mhm.
Fantastic. All right, let's go to the other family. Yes, how about we start with Vanessa?
Hi, everyone. My name is Vanessa Kai, and I play Pei Ling. In the show, I am Nikki's Shaolin mentor, and sort of a mother figure and guidance, if you will. What I love about Pei Ling is what I really admire. She's, I think, a lot wiser than I am. that just like I have a lot to learn from my own character. So she inspires me a great deal as well.
All right, thank you, Yvonne.
Hi, I play John. She is the villain of the show, the big bad. She's the sister of Pei Ling, which is no longer a spoiler anymore, so that's kind of fun to say out loud. And what I love about her is she's just a ruthless badass. It's great. It's great to play that.
Fantastic. All right. Okay. So, for the following questions, we can go in that same order also. So, I'm curious, how much did you actually know about the show when you first heard about it, and when you decided to sign up, and what made you sign up for being on Kung Fu?
The original show was a bit before my time. And so I didn't know really anything about it until I was lucky enough to get the part of Nikki, and then I had to do a little bit of research. But the honest truth of what made me sign on was that there aren't a lot of parts for Asians out there, and I was like, oh, there's a part for an Asian person, and it's written specifically for a Chinese American girl. I would like to do that. And then, of course, once I read the pilot and got to see how much nuance and authenticity and care was put into the script by our incredible showrunner, Christina Kim, I was like, oh, this is a story that I really want to tell. It's not just a job at this point. This is important. And so I feel very, very honored to be part of this.
All right. Kang, for you?
For me, as a little girl, I would be sitting in front of the television set with food in front of me, sitting on the ground. My parents would be behind me. My two brothers will be on my side, and we would all watch Kung Fu, the original series, together. And it would be a treat when our parents allowed us to eat in front of the television. And for a show like Kung Fu, the entire family was crazy about it. So they would allow the kids to sit in front of the television set with their food and eat and watch TV at the same time, because my parents wanted to watch it too, And I'm hoping the same sort of effect is happening right now with our Kung Fu as well, that the whole families are going to be sitting together and watching the show together, because I think there is something there for everybody within the family, no matter what age or where you come from. What drew me to this? Well, first of all, it was a beautiful audition script. I would have been crazy to not go for it, and I'm not crazy, not all the time, and so I went for it. But more importantly, I think inside the audition room, immediately the energy that I stepped into was just amazing. Christina Kim was there, our wonderful showrunner, Hannah Lee Culpepper, who did our pilot episode, and episode 2, and Martin Guerrero, who is our other producer. They created a sort of feeling inside the room where everything was so alive. The way they communicated with me, the way they tried to draw things out from me, there was such a beautiful, warm feeling of a bunch of people creating something, and their characters, you could see that they are like such giving, kind, talented people. I mean, honestly, at that time I didn't know whether I got the role, but I walked out of there feeling it doesn't matter if I didn't get this role, because just that feeling of being in that room with them was enough for me. And you know what? They continue to be that same way today, and even more. Yeah.
And do you find that a rare thing that happens?
I think the intimate nature and the very detailed way in which they communicated with me is special. Is special. There was a dialogue. It wasn't just a bunch of people telling you what to do. They were talking to you and then creating from there. I mean, there was this give and take. And the give and take on Kung Fu on all levels, production, showrunners, actors, everybody is amazing.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, Tai.
For this show, what attracted me to the show, and that was before even the script was written, the fact that Christina M. Kim was going to be the showrunner, the first Asian American woman showrunner. Already, I said, I don't care what she writes, I'm there. Because and what she said to me was, after it wasn't Kung Fu, because Kung Fu was an afterthought, because the Asian American family was her pitch. It wasn't about Kung Fu. It was about a family. And I said, wow, okay, we doubled down on that one. Asian American woman showrunner about an Asian American family. Okay. So we already got 2 out of the 3 things I really want to do on the show. And Kung Fu was the IP that came along with it. So it was Warner Brother who suggested that in this family show, we have an intellectual property that we want you to marry two together. Can you do that? And I think that's what happened. Kung Fu came as an afterthought. So really, for me, Kung Fu didn't attract me. It's Kung Fu that attracted me, because it's about that family. It is about, to feature a Asian American family on primetime network. Never been done before. So I really wanted to make sure that he didn't forget about me once she told me about it. And she didn't, thank God. And really just to give us this as Kang says, this inclusiveness, this inclusion about how do I want to present this character as dad. So I welcome that challenge. And I know that Kang and I did some work, on the backstory of this couple, about who they are. And we really wanted it to have a couple that represents the San Francisco immigrant experience. The fact that, Mei Li is from the mainland. Jin is from Hong Kong. So you have this kind of two very dominant group that's represented in San Francisco. which is very important for me to have them represented. The fact that Jin comes from a place where he studies, and got a degree where when he comes to America is no longer recognized. It means nothing. I mean, that sheepskin is not worth the toilet paper that's written on. So he has to, really find a way to find a living, to make a living. And that happened to a lot of us, who, my brother, for one, has a degree in architecture, and he comes and it's not recognized. So he ended up opening a family restaurant with all of us working in it. So that's very close to me, and Jin's experience is very close to my brother's experience. So I feel honored to be able to present this character, to the American public, and it's a tribute to say a thank you to him, because he sacrificed a lot for the family.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'd love to dive in more about how this show is important to Asian representation, but we'll come back to that later. Would love to hear from Vanessa.
Hi. Let's see. I was familiar with the original. I watched a few episodes, most especially afterwards, but I was familiar with it just watching only when it air on reruns. But I didn't actually know about the reboot or the reimagining of it until the opportunity came up for me to audition for it. What I love about the pilot is that it was gender flipped. We have an Asian female lead, that all the female characters are strong, they have agency, they use their voice, they take up space unapologetically. That to me excited me. It still excites me. And not just Asian females, but also Asian males, right? Because just how Asian men and women, both sexes, are being represented on television now, and I found them to be fully fleshed out and filled with agency, living normal lives, and that excited me. I love how Christina Kim, like her investment in character development and relationships, and just all of that resonated with me. Not only as an actor, but also as a Chinese American, as an Asian American, that resonated with me. And then on top of it, the cherry on top, I felt like it's a universal, right? Like there's themes about the show that are universal that anyone can just tune in and be able to relate to. So I didn't feel like it marginalized us or isolated or excluded anyone. I felt like it was all inclusive, not just Asian Americans, but everyone who wanted to sign on. And so that to me all of those factors factored together, immediately I had the vision of what an incredible positive impact this would have on the world. And I wanted so much to be a part of that. If that meant that I'm, sweeping something, I'm here for it. And I want to be part of that movement. I want to be part of that movement. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Last but not least,
similar to Liv, I wasn't really super familiar with the original show of Kung Fu, but I understood what the spirit was of that show and how it's going to translate into this new one, into the reboot of, somebody who is using their skills and their agency to help with their community and connect with people and the relationships and that. But truly, I think the show really stands on its own. It may share the same name, but it's new characters, it's new life. And when I read the pilot, the words really just sang just straight from the pilot itself, and it only gets better going from that. And what really stood out to me, and what I really appreciate from our creators of the show, every single character on the show has so much depth. What a rare gift to be given, especially for Asian Americans. Like Liv said, there's not a lot out there. And then on top of that, to be given characters with so much dimension and so much to chew on is such an amazing gift. And Jalon, it just in the script for the audition sides, there was a lot for me to take in. And I just thought to myself, okay, I really hope this works out, and thankfully it did. But at the same time, just doing the audition, I was like, this is lovely for me as an actor, just to be able to do that. And now that we've premiered and seen the response to this, I mean, how could we ask for anything more? It's been such a joy and a pleasure.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I'm hearing from everybody about how collaborative the process is, and how much agency actually everybody is getting, and how much the creators has allowed the show to be so authentic. I'd love to hear from you on your experience in working with Christina Kim and the entire team of Kung Fu. We were very lucky to be able to have Christina be on one of our panels to talk about her experience as an Asian showrunner earlier on in the month. And she talked about how she made sure she really had a diverse group of writers and crew, including BIPOC directors, etc. So I'd love to hear from all of you on your experience, and how do you feel that made a difference, having an Asian showrunner and the way she worked with everybody, and what impact can you feel being on a show run by an Asian creator, BIPOC writer?
I haven't been on many sets, so I don't have anything to compare it to, which I think I might be very spoiled, for my next job, if it's not this, because I don't know that another set would be so collaborative and so open. And I think Christina being Korean American, there is that through line of a universal Asian American experience, and obviously also a universal person of color experience. But she also recognizes where she doesn't know everything, and that's the humility that she carries there allows for us who are Chinese American or Chinese to give input and say, hey, I think this feels more real to something that maybe I would have experienced within my own family. And so her having the humility to recognize where she doesn't know everything and then allowing us to give input. I don't know any other show that has a culture like that. And for me personally, like, I think the fact that Christina being an Asian American person and not requiring martial arts to be a prerequisite for any of us to have booked the job, it's because she's an Asian American person who knows that not every Asian person knows martial arts. Because I think if it was any other showrunner, they'd be like, well, the Asian person has to know martial arts and has to speak another language. And that's a hurdle that Asian performers have to, that's an extra hoop that we have to jump through. But she didn't force that on us because she knows not every Asian person speaks another language. Not every Asian person knows martial arts. And that's a testament to the power of having people of color behind the camera and making decisions. And so that's how I think I've been impacted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's amazing.
Sing it, sister.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that, like, I've been really lucky in the past shows I've been on with working with different showrunners. That same thing with Christina. I always felt heard, always felt listened to and understood and respected, and that goes just as much with Christina. But with Christina as well, there's this unsaid, deeper understanding. Being an Asian American woman, that doesn't need to be said. I don't even know how to really fully express that, but it's just like this feeling of just really being understood without having to explain anything. Mm-hmm. And that brings a collaborative chemistry to another level. That's really, really important to have that diversity, because if we're going to be an industry and a show and just in the space that really wants to foster and assert innovation and empathy and creativity, you cannot do that in a homogenous environment. And I think having those different voices in front and behind the camera, it lends to that. You can't have that without that diversity. And so we're just so lucky to have her, truly.
No. I think yeah, oh God. Yeah, I'm just echoing what everyone Olivia and Yvonne are saying. I think one of the things that come to mind as an Asian American creator who's also a woman, I think I can't help, the first thought that comes to mind is these are very specific marginalized groups, right? And at least here in America, right? And so I think that informs a certain amount of like awareness. And I think that as someone who then becomes in a position, who is now in a position as a showrunner, making decisions, she has certainly created opportunities for not only Chinese American writers, directors, but for other, as well as other artists of color. You know, so she has certainly done that, and whether that because it is because she's an Asian American, it is because she's a woman, it is because of that, and then she's now trailblazing, she's leading the way, you know, for, yeah, she really is. And yes, and yes, and yes.
Period.
Period.
Actually, this is the first time that I am in a main cast in a television show. I don't in America, so I don't have any other experience before this. But let me just say that I think the bar now is set so high.
Oh my God, so spoiled.
You know, honestly, and so much of that is because of Christina. Yes, she is. She brings in so much detail. Yes, because of her own experiences, because she is a woman, because she is an Asian American. But for me, on top of that, it is because of the person that she is.
Mm.
You know, the person that she is. Talent. And I think there is no doubt about that. I mean, if you just look at the vision of Kung Fu and how well it's done, yes, the talent is bright and shining, and, you know, nobody is arguing with that. But you add on to that the heart of Christina and the person that she is, and how she has this remarkable ability to listen. You know, and it comes from the top, because when the showrunner and you know, the person who developed this series is like that, it kind of seeps through every single level. And I just feel that everybody on set, whether or not you are the person in charge of props, whether you're the makeup artist, whether or not, you know, you're I mean, it doesn't matter. There is this environment where I just feel everybody is listening to each other, and everybody is very clear about the fact that we really not just want to make this a successful television series, but that this world is going to be kind, and it's going to be good, and we're going to treat each other well, with respect, and to give each other the dignity, you know, and honestly, the culture on set is something that I want, you know, every single place to be, whether or not I'm here in Singapore or, you know, anywhere. So yeah, I think that's the sort of bar that Christina has set. You know,
so high. Oh my God, I totally feel like I'm so spoiled. I
want to give a shout out to the co-showrunner, you know, Bob Behrens.
Yes.
Because that you know, that union, and you know, it comes from their own mouth. They call themselves, they feel like they're married to each other.
Work
just
spouses.
The right balance too, you know,
balanced.
Of characters and of two minds that have a similar goal, have a very similar way of working, have the same generosity of heart, you know, and they get along so well. And Honestly, what more can you ask for, really?
You know, to echo to everyone here what they've said. One thing that's not said, the opportunity given to BIPOC people to work on a show. It's not perfect. We have our challenges. You know what? They get the opportunity to test it. Is rarely seen. Okay? Yes, the leadership is great. Christina is a special individual. You know, how she brings, you know, elements to the show, such as Buddhism, it's never been explored. You know, everything is surface, you know, and I'm sure the writers' room have their challenges too. But nobody shied away from it. Everybody took up that challenge, you know, on set too. Not every day's a perfect day. I don't want to paint that picture, you know, but we come together to rise above it. It's about how we deal with the obstacle and the challenges. And given the opportunity for us to experiment. You're not going to, I've done a lot of shows, as you know. I have never been on a set that have that opportunity open to a BIPOC community, LGBTQ community, our characters represented. You know, those are the things that excites me. That the fact that we are not here to please anybody but ourselves. For me, this show is for us. This show, you know, if they want to come along to join the party, all the better. And I think they will, because the numbers will bear, you know, to show that. But really, I'm so proud to be in the show because this is a show about us. What more do I want? You know, I don't. And I continue to really have the people to come to the show and guest starring on the show, you know, guest directing on the show, you know, to have that opportunity, knowing that we're not in a perfect world, knowing that you get a place where you can play. You get to come and play with us. And you know what? We want to set a tone of welcome to all of you. Come play with us. Come experience with us. And come and have an opportunity to fail and then succeed. Because that's what we say in Chinese. 失敗乃成功之母. That's what we say. Failure is the mother of success. And this is what we have created here in this show. And that's what I'm most proud of.
That's so well said. And that's what family is all about, right? It's not about perfection. It's about working through all the imperfections.
That's right.
And do you see that this really has opened up doors, will be opening up doors, and for, you know, more Asian creators, actors, and crew?
100%. 100%. It's already here. It's already echoing out. I'm telling you now. You know, I mean, even before we were on air, because of that energy that was created. And I think all the datas bear fruit, because if you want a successful show, I mean, there's only one color Hollywood would know and understand, is the color green.
Right.
You make that money. And we know that the data will show you that diversity will make money for you. Right. So I think, you know, it behooves them to be good business people. Okay.
For sure, Hollywood is a business.
Exactly. Join the party, man. You know,
and the first
and there are
few
other shows
episodes
already
showed.
happening. Yeah.
Right. The numbers have shown, right? And
Absolutely.
you guys are getting so many fans. You know, I see you very busy on social media interacting with all your fans.
Yeah, no,
And
really.
and do you feel that we're still underrepresented? I mean, especially since Crazy Rich Asians, right? We've seen more and more films like The Farewell, Tiger Tail, Netflix shows
Well,
like Always
that's
Be
not
My
because
Maybe,
of
and
Crazy Rich Asians, really. There are a lot, then
no,
you do a disservice to all the wonderful filmmakers, independent filmmakers that have been telling, and voicing their voices, and I think that's important to note.
it's
That
many years in
it,
the making, and I would
absolutely,
say, yeah, I
absolutely,
would say that was more a tipping point when kind of Hollywood
I don't
saw the
think so. I don't
numbers,
think that's a
the
tipping point.
numbers.
I think
Okay,
there was a group of films that came. There was a
sure,
movement that happened
right,
at the same time. It was one of those crazy things. Was that the universe was all aligned all of a sudden?
right
You know,
timing, yeah, mm-hmm.
really
Yeah,
was just uncanny that happened.
right,
Where all of a sudden you see, all of this facets of material that came about. That we didn't see
that's
one
true.
thing. We didn't see
No,
another. We saw
yeah,
all of this amazing facets and different colors that came at the same time. That was a launching pad. And I think it came from, Oscar Too White. It came from Me Too movement. All of those things, we
right.
built that energy up, for us to kind of have this launching pad
And the great
that,
thing
that
is,
created that energy. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, and the great thing is we've been seeing a continuous
Yes.
more and more shows and recognition, like all the top awards now are being claimed by Asians like Bong Joon-ho, Chloe Zhao, just to name a few. So what to you would be a good indication that we're truly represented in film and TV? Are we there yet? And what else does it take to get us truly, authentically represented?
A multitude of voices is what we need, really. I mean, I think finally, being in this business for so many decades, I used this analogy before, and Olivia's heard me say this before, is that we're climbing up a mountain and we're always looking down, see how far we're going to fall. But now we have a foothold.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can look and see, and really we can reach the summit. It is what I see in this today's world. Yes, we're still underrepresented, particularly with Southeast Asians. I think that we still have ways to go. However, we have a foothold. We have a place where we put our foot and we're looking up, and that's major. And I think again, to really start, we don't want to represent everybody, and we can't. Right now, we still want basket. And everybody's looking to us and go, you need to represent us. No, we can't. We need the multitude of voices that's going to do that. And we need a lot of baskets out there, man. And that's what we're striving for that. And that's going to happen.
And I think,
oh, please, Yvonne.
oh, I was just going to say, Kang, you sent that study that came out this month that really showed the numbers of the representation. I think something that we should all be mindful of is we're celebrating all the great things that are coming out. But if we look at that in a silo and really focus on just those few projects without looking at the whole, we are definitely still underrepresented.
Mm-hmm.
And we still need to look at that data and recognize how much work still needs to be done. And I'm not saying that from a negative point of view. In fact, I just look at that, I'm like, great, we have a lot more opportunity to come our way.
Yeah.
As much as we have work. But I also say too that, and it sounds really weird, I know what we're doing right now is really, really special. And I love that. But for me, the day when it doesn't feel special anymore, that's when we have enough representation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
That.
Mm-hmm.
To add to that, I am reminded that yes, to the percentage and how few female showrunners there are, but also few Asian female showrunners there are, that I also wanted to give a shout out that the other two that came to mind that are Asian, former or current or former showrunners is Mindy Kaling, right, from the Mindy Project, and as well as Nanacha Khan. And so I just wanted to give a shout out for them as well, that we not forget about them. But yeah, I agree. We're still not fully represented. And I think also to Yvonne's point that when it's want to no longer feel special. I think that also, I think that specificity is important, that representation is not just about having faces there, right? But to really have fully fleshed out characters, like to have Asian Americans, all AAPI, all of these characters that are living dynamic lives on screen, to have it fully reflected on screen as much as the lives that they're living off screen, you know?
And not tokenism, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Exactly. Yeah. So no, yes, I do agree. We are still underrepresented in that respect.
Yeah. The Chinese call it flower pots.
Oi.
There's a stuff flower pot. Right? No, we don't want flower pots.
Not the vase in the background. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And sorry, anyone else? Any thoughts on that point? Yeah. So yeah, speaking of numbers, being in the spotlight, unfortunately, Asians are currently in the spotlight because of something very sad, which is all the anti-Asian hate that's out there. How do you see Kung Fu helping to stop the hate, or is it helping?
I think we're helping.
I agree.
It's the media is finally shedding light on anti-Asian hate, and unfortunately, that's all the news is right now for Asians, and that is what we see. And I'm glad that our show can show some joy, some family, some connection, in contrast to the awful things that are happening to our community. I'm glad that our show is invited into homes that may otherwise not see people who look like us in their communities and humanize us. They can connect with these characters as human beings, and connection is the first step to understanding, to stopping the hate. And so I think, as silly as it sounds to say that a TV show can help change minds, TV shows change minds. Entertainment shapes the world, shapes what we see, what our worldview is, what the narrative we're saying is. And so I'm just very proud that we get to change some minds and then be a safe haven for our community.
I would also like to add to that, because Liv, as you've said, in the past before, which it still resonates such a great deal, is that having our show in everyone's homes is normalizing us, is humanizing us, and also referencing back to what our numbers look like, what the ratings look like in live viewing every Wednesday since premiering. I think that's just proof, right, that that people are not just being entertained, they are being moved. That there's something about our show that resonates with them, and that's the reason why they keep tuning back in. And it's not just because of Kung Fu, and it's not just because we're Asians, because it's like we're human, and they feel it, and there's something that's reflected from them. And so I feel so strongly about that, and because of that I think that we are changing minds. It's because ultimately it's like what they're seeing is people who are Asian, yes, and Chinese, but who are dealing with conflict and falling in and out of love, and how do they experience heartbreak, joy, disappointment, life. Just being human. We're just living our lives.
I don't want to discount entertainment. It's a delivery device.
For sure. Absolutely.
The fact that you're able to go into someone's living room. Look, unfortunately, that's the case. Okay? Because there's no history book that tell the world about our history. There's no Asian American history in our history books. There are no struggles about African Americans struggling, to be recognized, to vote, civil rights. Very little is said. So we're the only option at this moment. Okay. So we are we are. I used to say we can be a long-term solution. Okay. I would no longer say that. I would say we are part of the long-term solution. Okay.
Agreed.
Short-term is another matter. And here's an interesting kind of a conversation I had with a judge friend of mine, who's a judge in LA. And I said, what is the rhyme or reason of this, beating up, elderly Asian people? He said, well, I have a theory. I said, okay, well, please share, because I don't know. I have no clue. He said, the African American, and let me just to say this, is a lot of that perpetrated by, these crimes are from the African American community. So it's color on color hate. Okay. And here's his theory. He said, you had a president that kept on saying that this is a Chinese virus, that we are the cause of it. Okay. This whole pandemic comes from China, and we are the closest thing to China. That's one. Two is that the African American community have a lot of health issues. They have been hard hit by this virus. Their parents die. Their grandparents die. They have diabetes. They have a lot of challenging health issues. And what do they see? They see us being blamed. We're the scapegoat. You kill my mother, I'm going to come and hurt your mother. I said, what? I said, what a theory. He said he feels that that's a factor, because they've been so hard hit and that we're being blamed by this illness. So they're seeking some kind of revenge. I mean, I'm not saying all cases are like that. I'm saying, wow, that's something I didn't know, that theory may have some truth to it. I don't know. Because I also mentioned that to Russell Jerm, who happens to be the professor who's been collecting all this anti-hate, Asian crime stuff. Then he said, you know what? I really need to look into that. We need to look into the fact that the people have been, arrested. We want to know why they did what they did, because obviously there's some questioning going on with the authorities. And, well, why did you do what you did? He's going to start to collect data on that. And hopefully we will shed more light on what's happening. And what it means also is that there have been layers upon layers and layers of disinformation about community of color pitted against community of color. This is our history. Okay, we've always been held up as the model minority. That why can't you be like them? Okay, and that has been happening for many, many years. We need to kind of just get through that mug and really connect, and our show can do that because martial arts is a connecting point of all the communities. Data will show you that. So look at what we got. We got a delivery device of martial arts into their homes and showing you a Chinese American family of human beings, as Vanessa said, falling in love, falling out of love, being funny, being goofy, being fierce, being all of those multifaceted people that we are. Hopefully, not hopefully, hope is at the hate of hell. Forget hope. We can do this. We're important. It is a noble business that we're in as actors. Okay? And we are the ambassadors to solving this riddle, man. I'm telling you, that's what I believe.
All right. And I echo what you said, basically just teaching us to be ourselves, right? And showing that authentic self to everybody and telling everybody it's okay to be yourself.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Wow. Thank you so much for all that insight. Let's lighten it up a little bit. How about let's go to some rapid fire questions. Because we don't have a lot of time left, but would love to hear from you on some fun things and some things that will let the viewer to know more about yourselves. Okay, so let's go one by one. Who are the people who influence you as an actor and in life? Olivia.
First thing that came to my mind is my castmates on Kung Fu right now. I won the lottery and I get to work with the best and most talented people, and I'm constantly inspired by them, and that's period.
For me, I have to say that Olivia inspires me every day.
does.
Yeah,
I would have to say the same.
on Kung Fu. And I'd like to explain why. Because I think it's very wonderful that Kung Fu is on the CW, because it is important that young people today get to see something positive about the world and get to learn about what they can do that is good for not just themselves, but everybody else. And honestly, the future is in our young people. So I love that about Kung Fu being on the CW, going out to a primarily young adult audience. So that's great. And Olivia, as our number one, represents to me a type of youth that I want to see leading everything in the future because of talent, but
Oh my God.
humility, kindness, discipline, everything. So she's kind of like what Nikki is.
Yeah, absolutely she is. I mean, like,
No wonder they cast her.
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
On a personal,
the entire cast, but I do want to.
And I have to say, I see a lot of different role models at different levels and different age groups on the show, which is amazing. Yvonne, go ahead.
well, I just want to say that on a very personal level too, it was not easy for any of us to uproot our lives and leave the family behind. You know what I mean? Like, we all left our home, came here and worked. And I'm so thankful for all of you, because look, we all did this together, and during a time of COVID, it's not an easy thing to do. And I think that we have to give each other credit for that. But this cast has been so incredibly loving and supportive, and that really lends to doing the work as much as anything else. So that really inspired me every single day to show up.
I know I'm cheating, but it's all the same. I'm saying everything what everyone's saying. It's the same. I echo. That's it.
Well, to be clear,
Yeah.
the question is anyone who inspires me, not limited to people on the show.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to jump in.
It's interesting because, I've lived somewhat of a long life. There are a lot of influences, but, what's immediate and what's present is really important, because Christine Kim, amazing influence because of her heart, because of her confidence about casting the right people. That's I mean, this has nothing to do with other than the fact that she was confident in making the right choice of putting a cast together. I mean, that's inspiring. Okay. And I know she's fighting the good fight everywhere, because I know network TV. I know studio. They are a handful. Okay. Don't kid yourself. It just is. So I know that she's a woman warrior.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Yeah.
She wrote a woman warrior in the show.
Hey.
And really, I cannot say enough about this young lady. Okay.
Takes one to
Because
know one.
she's just different in a lot of ways. She works really hard. I've seen her bruises. It's like, and to really have this kind of caring and love. I have never been on a show where every guest director gets a gift, gets a thank you. Okay, everyone.
Wow.
And because that young lady right there,
That's right.
Okay,
I would- ooh.
Olivia. I mean, really, it's crazy. I mean,
Wow.
you know how many shows I've been on? I have never had a show where somebody get a bottle of champagne and a thank you for
Yeah.
every guest director.
Yeah. That's
I also
mean,
want,
that's brilliant.
yeah, I also
Wow.
really would like to add, because when we talk about who inspires us, not only as an actor but in life as well, I know that we're saying this again and again, but I can't say it enough, because Olivia doesn't get enough credit for what the amount that she does off screen as much as she does on screen. She takes the lead in all the gifts, the food trucks, the thank yous, not just for the guest directors, but for all the crew. She is so thoughtful, and she's actually all for within the cast as well. She's so inclusive with everyone. She speaks to all the guest actors to get to know them, and she chats with them, and her stand-ins, all of her stunt doubles, like every single person, she is, and she is an inspiration. And for someone that young but holds that much on her shoulders, she's an inspiration for all of us. And I can't say that enough.
No, truly, like truly, I was the last one to come. I was the last one to come on this cast, and I remember meeting you at the stunt rehearsal, and the hug that you gave me, I was like, this is going to be great. And you're the first one who introduced me to everybody else and invited me to the group, and I can't thank you enough for that. You are such a leader, and we're so grateful to have you. Truly,
so grateful.
Oh my gosh,
And
what
she's
a love
cute.
fest. I love it.
and she's beautiful and everything, and smart.
Yeah,
Inside
looks
and out.
like Olivia has to
Thanks
get
for all of
the.
us first.
I'm sweating.
Well, looks like Olivia has to get the most inspiring award.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Love this
Well,
question.
Well, next question. I love how deep we're getting into all the questions, even though these are like rapid fire, but I'm loving all the answers. I'm loving how this is all headed. It's always organic. And the next question, Yvonne mentioned how everybody had to uproot. So some viewers may not know that this was actually shot in Vancouver. So what did you, what's something you learned about Vancouver or Canada? Some of you, are not strangers to the place. Some are. So I'm curious.
For me, it's urban fare. We're all in a bubble, right? We're all in a bubble. We keep each other safe. And I tell you, this cast, we're very committed to our bubble. We only saw each other. Thank God we got along. Thank God we made each other laugh, and that we like each other. And other than seeing the cast, I saw urban fare. Because you try, we gotta keep each other safe. So just go to the supermarket, get that food, come up, and that's it. And then see your castmates, and honestly, that's a beautiful world. I hope to see more of Vancouver when things open up.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say actually, that Vancouverian, I assume Canadians, right? All of Canada they really are polite. It's like they really, even when they're upset,
it's not a myth.
Polite.
It's not a myth. Thank you, Vanessa.
Even when, yes, all of that. That is true.
As a Vancouverite, I got to give props again to Liv. You were so good at ordering food, and I thought I knew. I did not know. Like she found treasures. I was like, oh, this is.
She always
great.
takes the lead. It's like, yeah, we always rely on Olivia.
I do a lot of research. I have to cross-reference with Yelp, but I have to make sure that the Yelp review is 3 stars, not more.
Wow, very
then
thorough.
that means that non-Asians are. It's a whole process that I have. I learned about the rain. I don't like it. Sorry.
I bought rain boots.
I don't like
just for
never owned rain boots before. Got rain boots in Vancouver.
I recommend Gore-Tex shoes. Get the rain boots. Gore-Tex shoes are the bomb, man. I'm telling you. We're gonna need it.
Yes.
We're gonna need it. Trust me. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. All
Love
right,
Vancouver. Great
Ty.
city.
Also,
Great city.
we're not endorsed by Urban Fare or Gore-Tex. Let me just say
No.
this. This is just
No.
for fans.
No.
Yeah.
Which is
Right.
the
I
best.
know. I wish we
Okay.
were. I wish we were.
I do. Ty, anything that you discovered on your recent trip? Because you come back time and time again, and you're half Canadian.
Yes. I tell you, Olympic Village is a pretty cool area. That's something I
So
didn't really know.
true.
I mean, you know, I really I like the neighborhood. You know, I got nice neighbors. You know,
Very nice. Well, all within that bubble.
and I did run into it in Urban Fare. Like,
I know.
you know, anyway.
Like,
So
oh,
I guess you know, yeah, that's right.
Well, we're running out of time, so I'm going to ask one last question. What's the most memorable moment during shoot? Very
Widgeon.
quickly.
Mhm.
Widgeon. That's it. That's all I got is Widgeon. Just
Well,
on a
you
rainy,
describe Widgeon to audiences who don't
wet.
know.
It was a pouring,
Wetlands.
rainy day. It's gorgeous. I don't know what it's like when it's not wet, but we were there on a very rainy day, and Olivia and I, we were soaked. We're sinking in the mud. I'm trying to walk away gracefully, and I slip, and that just, it was hilarious. That's
Yep.
it. That's all. I mean, there's
Yes.
been other very memorable moments since then, but that's the first that comes to mind. Widgeon.
Yeah. To Widgeon, Yvonne and I were fighting in the rain, in the mud,
Yes.
rolling around in the grass and over this like well. It was, I mean, I agree with that being the most memorable because it was while we were shooting the pilot, and you know, we're all so excited. The energy is there, and then we thought that, you know, being an actor was going to be glamorous. They said, "You're a star. Here's the mud." So,
You're a star.
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
that was very, very memorable. But I mean, it was as miserable as the rain was. Like, I was having so much fun with these ladies.
I think, Liv, tell me if I'm wrong. Was it the second last day? No, it was maybe the second or third last day that we're shooting the finale. Our stunt team, the who doubles for Liv and for Eddie, they proposed
There was
on
an
set.
engagement.
There was engagement. It was this whole thing. I remember me, Liv, and Eddie were on set, and we're just like, okay, we gotta get all the shots done because we gotta get to this one scene because there's this like elaborate setup that was happening, and we're so under the gun, and we're so like, we're just stressed for everybody and for everything.
Yeah.
But
we were not stressed about the show.
No,
we were
not
stressed
at all.
about this engagement. We were like,
stressed about the
come on,
engagement,
let's get this shot so we can go to this.
And it was the most amazing thing that, you know, like two people that we really care about, having that experience on set and sharing it with all of us was really great.
I have to echo that. I wasn't even there. I just saw the video.
Same.
It was so
I cried.
powerful. And because I know Megan, you know, before the show, I know Megan's mom. So I had to ask Olivia, say, can I say something? I mean, does she know? So really, that took the cake, man. I'm telling you, that was brilliant, really. I mean, I wasn't even there.
For me, I think it was the last day of shoot for me. And I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but a lot of people were on the set shooting the scene, which included a lot of people. And when it came to, and when, you know, the first AD said, and Kang was wrapped, I remember just instinctively, I threw my hands up into the air and I like screamed, and everybody screamed too. And it was not because, it wasn't a scream of, oh yeah, it's all over. No, it was a scream of kind of like, oh my goodness, you know, we've done this, you know, we're a scream of love. I think it was a scream of love. Ty, you were there. You know,
yes.
It was so instinctive, and then everybody else in that room too just sort of like screamed along with me, and it was just a scream of love, and that we've done this, and we're so proud of it, you know, and now we're gonna give it away. we're gonna give it away, Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
echoed.
that-
I mean, if you had a pitchfork, it would vibrate it.
And so happy you get to share that joy with all our audience, and because of all that energy, all that amazingness, you guys now get a second season. We are confirmed for a second season, isn't it? So we're very, very excited.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, we're still halfway through the first season, and I know we're not allowed to give out any spoilers. But I want to encourage everybody who's watching to remember to tune in to Kung Fu, which airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on CW and also CTV2 on in Canada, and also streaming on the apps the day after.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for everybody for your time, for sharing so much insight and love and joy. Can't wait to see you on screen.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Lynn.
Chris. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lynn.
Thank you.
Good job.
Bye.
Good job,
Thank
Marbury.
you.
Really.
Thank you.